What's up, fight fans? And we're back at it with another edition of Round One Sports TV. I don't think this microphone is checking in, and I don't even know if you guys can hear me right now. Uh, let's let everybody come in to the live chat. Um, Fuck, I gotta set shit up. I'm sorry, I'll be right back. This shit is skipping bad. What the hell? Fuck, I gotta set shit up. I'm sorry, I'll be right back. This shit is skipping bad. Oh no, we're good. What the fuck? I gotta set shit up. I'm sorry, I'll be right back. I'm good. Skipping bad. Oh no, we're good. I'm good. What up, fight fans? And we're back at it with another edition of Round One Sports TV. Let's talk about what's going on right now in the boxing world and what's everybody getting all worked up over. Terence Crawford, Naoya Inui debate. I'm just waiting for some more people to start logging in. I want to see if these super chats and everything else is all set up here. Oh, man. What up, everybody? I'm just letting another couple people get up in here and we'll get this show popping. Can you guys hear me okay? My mic's not working right now, my auto interface, so I'm using the mic off the camera right now, so it probably sounds like shit. I'm not sure how it sounds. I'm pissed off right now because all my shit is not working. It's not coinciding. Hold on. I have no idea why my mic's not working. I don't know why this shit's not working the way it's supposed to be. I don't know what's going on today. I really don't. I'm just gonna let another couple people get up in here, and we're gonna start this live stream off right now. All right, because I wanted some people to be in here. I have some people to talk to about this debate about Naoya Inoue and Terence Crawford, and this big back and forth. Everybody seems to be wanting to go back and forth, and it doesn't seem like Terence Crawford's people wanted to accept what happened the other night against the Japanese superstar. You know, coming into the Terence Crawford fight, right? We all remember, right? Just before Terence Crawford went up against Errol Spence Jr., right? They were saying that the Japanese superstar surpassed Terence Crawford, right? Just before the July matchup with Errol Spence Jr., right? Okay. No sooner that Terence Crawford beat Errol Spence Jr., we were like, nah, man, you're going to have to give it back to Terence Crawford, right? So we were all in agreement with that. We were all in agreement with the fact that, it was up to your performance and how you perform as a boxer, right? People are getting mad, Naoya, because he's the best. A lot of people's feelings are going to get hurt, right? But you have to also understand that those are just regular fans. Hardcore boxing fans respect the art. The They respect combat. They respect competition, and they don't shy away from it. People that are not hurt by this understand that these are two of the best fighters we have in the world. And it's hard sometimes because being a fan, you always want your fighter to be number one. And I get it. And that's why sometimes I take my emotions out of the equation and I just look at the facts and what they're doing. I'm not most emotionally invested into any of the fighters. Day by day, while I watch the Japanese fighter, I become a fan with each fight even more and more. I have to admit, you know, sometimes it frustrates me because like you want people to see what you're seeing, you know, but stubborn people don't want to see anything else. They're stuck on their ways. They like who they like and they support who they're going to support. And it'll be like pulling teeth to try to convince them that the Japanese superstar is better than Terence Crawford. I get it. You know, um, everybody doesn't have an honesty blood bone in their body. Not everybody can be honest. Some people would rather accept the lie than the truth. Because the lie sounds better. Why change it with the truth? A lot of people go searching for the truth until they find it. And when you find the truth, you might not like the truth. So you might want to keep the truth a secret and go along with the lie that you already are accustomed to. Well, in this channel, I got to wake the world up. And I'm here to support boxing, never to hurt boxing. I'm always looking to raise the sport, promote the sport, enjoy the sport, and view the sport and tell it like it is. If it is what it is, then I'm going to say it. The truth is that I've been secretly all day today really trying to look up Terence Crawford's debate and really trying to come to his aid and say, no, we have this right here, X, Y, and Z. The more I look, the more it hurt Terence Crawford. Case in point, one of the gentlemen came to my show and said, Terence Crawford beat 7 undefeated fighters, right? Okay. And one of my subscribers went and commented on just that. He said, did you know that all 7 fighters that Terence Crawford beat, all the undefeated fighters, not one of them ever went on to be a world champion? So not every undefeated fighter is a beast. You could be an undefeated fighter and still be a tomato can. Not one of the fighters that he beat that was undefeated went on to become a world champion. Although 4 men, after losing to the Japanese superstar, went on to become world champions. That means that his level of competition is actually stronger because those men, even in defeat to the Japanese superstar, they were able to become world champion with the skills that they have. Not one fighter that was undefeated that came up against Terence Crawford ever had enough skill to become world champion. Now, interesting enough, let's all keep this in mind, that Terence Crawford is in one of the glamour divisions in all of boxing, meaning there are more eyes tuned in to Terence Crawford's division than there is at the Japanese superstars division. That's why you know more of his opponents. And had it not been for Terence Crawford, in some cases, you would not know the men he fought. You only know them because they fought Terence Crawford. You see? So the Japanese superstar, it's tough. It's really tough because I would like to come back and feed you that this is open for interpretation, that it's really up for an opinion. But we're past that. We are past that. This is not opinion anymore. He's past Terence Crawford too far for it to become opinion. If it was a lot closer, where that the race was Terence Crawford and him are right there, because they're close when it comes to their style and their skill, their skills. Both of these men's skill brought them to where they're at. So I'm in agreement that they're close there. Their styles might not look the same, but they're both undefeated elite fighters. So in that aspect, yes, they're close. But when it comes to their record, that's when the Japanese superstar really separates himself from Terence Crawford. You have to understand that it took Terence Crawford 6 years from the time he started his professional debut in 2008. It took him 6 years to obtain his first world title. The Japanese superstar, within 1 year of turning pro, he was a world champion. It took Terence Crawford 6.5 years, almost 7 years, to unify all 4 belts at 147. It took the Japanese superstar 6 months. 6 months. We're not even talking years anymore. We're talking months. It took Terence Crawford 6.5 years to unify all 4 belts. It took this Japanese guy 6 months. It took Terence Crawford almost 10 years to unify 2 separate weight divisions and capture all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions. It took him almost 10 years to do that. Okay? It took the Japanese superstar 1.5 years. He's smashing Terence Crawford's records. I mean, it's not even close. Now, if you were looking at it between measuring records, like per se, I don't want to mess this up, because and then you guys will hold me to a simple mistake of 1 or less fights. So I gotta, make sure I'm on point with this one. Terence Crawford is 40 fights with 31 knockouts, right? If we were to look at it like that and say, Terence Crawford fought more than the Japanese superstar, they didn't start their career on the same year. So you can't even use that argument. You see, Terence Crawford is older than the Japanese superstar by 6 years. So, of course, he started his career sooner. He started in 2008. The Japanese superstar started in 2012, right? Okay. So that's just meaning that, wait for it, the Japanese superstar will catch right up to you. Give him 6 years more that you have in front of him, and let's see what he puts up. Because according to what he's doing right now, he's just smashing Terence Crawford's record. He really is. And I didn't want to bring this to the debate, but the more you guys keep digging your grave, the more I got to go investigating. Mind you, I already knew a lot of this stuff, and I was avoiding from saying it. Because the more I talk, the more Terence Crawford is going to look worse. But you're making me do this because of the fact that the stuff that you're using to justify why he's the best. And I'm like, you can't use that. You can't use this. You can't use that. You guys got to come up with some real shit. Real stuff. Don't go by Marlon Tapales' last 3 fighters, all their fighters added up to 96 losses. Who cares about who Marlon Tapales fought? I don't care about anybody Marlon Tapales fought. What goes down in history is that Marlon Tapales came in that fight with 2 belts. That's it. He was not just a champion. He was a unified world champion coming into that fight against the Japanese superstar. A unified. Just like Errol Spence Jr. was a unified world champion. A unified world champion, just in case my viewers, and just to clear this up, Unified only means that you have 2 or more belts. You can be a unified champion with 2 belts. You can be a unified champion with 3 belts. Okay, excuse me. And what that means is that Errol Spence Jr. was a unified. To become undisputed, you need all 4 of the major sanctioning body belts. You need all 4. That is a different title entirely. Okay? So, what do we have? The argument stays that Terence Crawford beat several pound-for-pound fighters in the world. That his claim to fame is that he beat more pound-for-pound fighters than the Japanese superstar. Now, what you're doing now is drawing straws. You're picking hairs now. Because if you want to get technical with it, what the hell does 7 undefeated fighters fighting, I don't know, multiple world champions, how can that compete with 21 consecutive title fights? Bro, you don't want to go down this argument. You guys are not going to win. You're not going to win. The Japanese guy is just destroying Terence Crawford's record. You really mean to tell me you're going to nitpick about the quality, like if he fought 7 undefeated fighters, 4 champions, 2 Hall of Fame? Okay, you might have fought those guys. But have Terence Crawford ever been in 21 consecutive world title fights in a row? Go. There's not too many people or boxers in the world that have done that alone. That crushes anything or any opponent Terence Crawford has ever come against. That record right there crushes that. Because let's face it, till present date, Terence Crawford hasn't fought no fucking ultimate superstar. The closest he ever came to, which was the ultimate, and it deflated, was the Errol Spence Jr. fight, because he didn't fulfill his part of the obligation. Had Errol Spence Jr. came in there with no car crashes, no attached retina, and he was the same man that fought Carol Brook, bro, hands down, I'll give it to him for that one fight. But that's still just one fight. You can't base all of Terence Crawford's success off of Errol Spence Jr. Okay, even if I was to give you that one fight, what else you got? What else do you got that's big time? Because if we want to nick and pick, Naoya Inoue's leading the way with the knockouts consistently, right? Both men have knocked out their last 5 opponents, right? What are we going to do? Judge the knockouts? You don't want to do that. You don't want to go down that road. Let's not open that can of worms. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the Japanese superstars' knockouts were way more impressive than Terence Crawford's knockouts. Hands down. Hands down. So you don't want to go there. Okay? And I mean this. There are some records right now about the Japanese superstar, and there are a few records of Terence Crawford. I will not be the one that come out and say it. I'm going to wait for somebody else to try to open that can of worms, because trust me when I tell you, you're not going to want to go down this road. You're not. You're not. Because I have a few more things, but I'm not going to hurt Terence Crawford, because I'm not here to dog him. I'm not here putting Terence Crawford down. You got to understand, I'm revealing the curtain so that no one else can do this to him. What I'm doing is saying, tipping my hat off to fair play. I'm going like this to the Japanese dude. Yo, good one. You up one. Come on, Terence Crawford, baby. What are you going to do next? Come on, baby. Don't let us down. Don't let us down. That's where I'm at. You see, I didn't want to go down this road, this conversation. I didn't want any of this. I didn't want none of this. But you're not going to shit on the Japanese superstar when he's fucking holding the sport right now. He is, man, that would be me shitting on our Floyd at the time. When Floyd with Floyd in his era, that would be me getting on and giving Floyd a big fuck you. And I would never do that. I would never do that. I'm not going to do that to the Japanese dude when the boy is good. Man, listen, we got to admit, my man got skills. My man is putting in work. He's dropping people, knocking people out. Man, listen, we could talk about it all day. The Japanese superstar is truly phenomenal. He really is. So for me to get on and say that this is a matter of opinion, that everybody should have their right to an opinion, sure, you do. At the end of the day, even though if the Japanese superstar on paper is better than Terence Crawford, that doesn't mean you switch ships. Stay a Terence Crawford fan. Stay loyal to the man. I get it. And if you were coming on saying, all right, cool, but I'm going to still be loyal. I still like Terence Crawford above Naoya anyway. If you're saying I like him better than him, you got the right to your opinion. You have the right to your opinion, and I support you for that. And I agree. Love your fighter. There's nothing wrong with that. But taking facts and saying that this is why he's better than him, remember, you're opening up a can of worms for something to come back. And as soon as you use some of these things that Terence Crawford did against the Japanese dude, remember, there's going to be some shit that's going to come back. You guys are not going to like to hear or accept what's coming back, but you got to acknowledge it. You got to acknowledge it. Hold up, this motherfucker's doing some real shit. He's doing some real, listen, like this Japanese dude is not playing around. And when you start to go through his record, and it's not much, it's 26 fights. 26 fights. A man with 26 fights is really putting up a strong argument with a man with 40 fights. That should tell you everything you need to know right there. How is a man with 26 fights even in the conversation with a man with 40 fights? Why? Obviously, his skills is brought him to the conversation. What he's doing inside the ring, a lot of fight fans, reporters, analysts, boxing records, all of them are taking note. And what they did was like, wait a minute, this dude is for real. And they put him against and right next to the greatest fighter in the world. And if you got your name right there, is because you must be doing something. You must be really doing something really big. The fact that the man came up from 108, 112, 115, 118 pounds, 122 pounds now, right? You guys didn't even know. Listen, he's bringing eyes to the sport, baby, right? That's what I mean. You're not going to like what you hear. Whether or not you choose to accept what's going on with Terence Crawford, you're soon going to run out. Because as much things that you bring up with Terence Crawford, the Japanese superstar's record, they can grab some shit that will destroy that. They can grab some shit off the Japanese superstar's record and just be like, what'd you say? How about this? Match that with this. Maybe their records are not the same by individual. What one individual did, whether he has more undefeated fighters and he has less. Does that really matter? Do you get an award for beating undefeated fighters ever in boxing? No. When they give you the award for Fighter of the Year and that room is filled with all those men and women, there's no award. Hey, the award goes to for beating 14 undefeated fighters. There is no award for that. But you know what there is an award for? Fighter of the Year. There's an award for that. And Terence Crawford might not get Fighter of the Year, right? He had 2 fights this year, which was good. In 2003, he fought twice. The more memorable of his fights was the one against Spence Jr. Not too many people remember he fought that other dude that he had like a malfunction, a wardrobe malfunction with his glove, and the cotton started coming out, and then he knocked the dude out. What was it, the sixth round or something, right? And the Everlast apologized for the glove error. You guys remember that, right? Was that spectacular? Was that a spectacular performance? Was that better than Stephen Kubo Fulton's fight against the Japanese fighter? That's my question. Was that fight better than Stephen Kubo Fulton, than the Japanese superstar's performance against how he shut down Stephen Kubo Fulton? And Stephen Kubo Fulton didn't win one round in the entire fight. Okay? So, and then his second fight, right, was against Errol Spence Jr. Now, matching Errol Spence Jr. fight against the Marlon Tapales fight, nah. Terence Crawford's performance was way better than the Japanese superstar against Marlon Tapales. He beat the shit out of fucking Errol Spence Jr. That wasn't that's not even close argument right there. But Naoya Inoue's dancing partner was better. It seemed like Errol Spence Jr., Crawford's dancing partner wasn't his equal. Or was it that he was that good? That he freaking just shut down Errol Spence Jr., right? Okay. So that's the reason why I said all of that, is to show you what opinions look like. Everything I just said was an opinion about how one fighter looked against the other, all based on opinion. I can see that Errol Spence Jr. didn't show up, or I can see that Terence Crawford was just that dominant. It's up to the viewer how they view it at the end of the day, right? So facts are facts, records are records. Opinions aside, Crawford is not touching this kid's record. He's just not. Not with obtaining your first world title in 6 years. This guy became a world champion within his first year of boxing. Not with taking almost 10 years to accomplish your most ultimate goal. His most prized possession and claim to fame, Terence Crawford's, is that he was the first man in history to unify all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions. And that took him a little over 10 years to do. It took the Japanese superstar 1 year and a half to do what it took Terence Crawford 10 years to do. It's not even close, bro. It's not even close. It's not even up for debate, man. Man, you can take their accomplishments and put them together and say, how can you say they're not even close? How can you say that they're not even, if they have the same awards? What are you talking about? I would sound crazy, right? But it's just going to go to the back end of the award. Okay, how long did it take each fighter to achieve it? Smoke them. That's what's going. I'm just helping you get there. I'm trying to eliminate all this so that we can just finally get to the point where I've always wanted to be. Yo, Japanese dude, fair play. We'll see you. We'll see you. We like competition. Terence Crawford got multiple fights in front of him. Jaron Boots Ennis, mega fight. Bro, he knocks out Jaron Boots Ennis. Back to number 1, right? He goes up and fights Jamel Charlo at 154 for those 3 belts. Back to number 1. The Japanese superstar is going to struggle finding opponents from here going up. He's going to struggle to find some opponents. You know why? There's nobody at 126. There's not that many people at 126. At 130, who's left at 130? We need some people to come in and help him out. We need better dancing partners for him. When Terence Crawford can go out and get great dancing partners like Jamel Charlo with that kind of name, his dancing partners are going to be better. They're going to be better. Jaron Boots Ennis, that name, his dancing partners are going to be better than the Japanese superstars. And that's where he can come back and surpass them. Okay? But he's going to have to put in work. Let me read some of these messages because I've just been going on, man. I've been going in. Yo, can we get some likes up in here? Can we click some likes? Okay. Yang, people are getting mad over Naoya anyway because he's the best. Bye, 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 bye. Sambang, brother, I don't want to mess up your name, man, but I'm going to call you H, okay? For me, both fighters are great fighters. For me, too, as well. For me, they're both great fighters. They're both great fighters. And, you know, we can argue this pound for pound thing back and forth, but in actuality, it is sometime uh, an award that just gets people going back in conversations because the real awards at the end of the day is what you did throughout your career. That's the real award. When it's all said and done and you hang up your gloves and they tally up everything you did, that's your life work. No matter if you ever won one world title or never even made it to the big dance, you know what? No one can take that away from you. That you had the balls to get up off your couch, go to the gym, train every day, dedicate yourself. And maybe you weren't the best fighter in the world and you didn't get to win the fights you needed to, but you're a fucking champion, bro, because you went for it. I don't give a fuck if you were boxing at an amateur level and everything. As long as you understand the significance of what it takes to win just one of these belts. Just one. Just one. I mean, we talk about it like, oh, he won four. He won four. Like, it's nothing. You have no idea. That is a lifetime of hard work and dedication to achieve something such as that. That is Terence Crawford's life work. He might not be a doctor. He might not be a professor, but make no mistake, he is a master in his craft. He is a professor at work when he walks into that ring. He might not be able to neutrons and ohms and all that other shit, but I bet you that guy that can build that rocket can't get in the ring with Terence Crawford now, could he? Right? So it's easy to sit here and pick apart all of this. But for me, man, these both men, man, thank you for putting boxing and putting eyes back to the sport that we all love. Thank you. Thank you for having us have these debates. Thank you for us giving us anticipation on the wait and wanting to wait for your next matches to both of these men. Thank you. Thank you for getting me excited to get up every day and to do this show and to talk about the best fighters in the world. Thank you. Thank you. Yo, what up? All right. Cody, what up? Non, what up? Brother, if I understood the translation of your letters, I would send you a shutout. But to my man with the little like girl emoji, what's up? I just don't know the lingo. You know what I'm saying? But have witnesses MJ's fighting incredible strong fighter. Garcia Espinal. Okay, yeah, MJ is a formidable opponent. I mean, sometimes you view things and without asking the answer or the question, you can kind of put two and two together with your eyes, right? Okay, meaning you keep hearing the name MJ all the time, but when you look up his boxing record, the dude got 12 fights and 9 knockouts and 1 loss. You're like, the hell is this? How the hell can a guy with 12 fights already be a world champion and he lost his belts to Tapales, but be so highly regarded? Why? Because of his skills. His record doesn't tell the story of how good of a fighter he really is, does it? No. And just like Terence Crawford, 40 and the Japanese record 26, right? You would think that this is one of those cases. where that the Japanese superstar is proving, don't look at the amount of my fighters. Look at what I'm doing inside the ring and how I'm doing it. That's how I'm viewing him. He is truly a unique fighter. His skill level. I have been spoiled for many, many years back in the days, right? Early 90s, late 80s. I'm really showing my age now. And I was spoiled. You know, I was watching boxing with my dad and my uncles in the living room. I was a young man. And I can remember when my dad would jump up for Sugar Ray, Leonard, Marvelous Hagler, Roberto Duran, Hitman Hearns. I came up in a real unique era of boxing. And I was spoiled. I was a spoiled boxing fan. I thought that every fighter was as big as these men, the four horsemen of boxing, Roberto Duran, all these guys, right? So I always thought that, you know, is that, yeah, it is. It's kind of like giving me a weird lighting in the back there. So I always thought that that's how boxing was supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? And then when boxing kind of took a dip in the level of skill, it didn't seem like for a while kids were dedicated to boxing. Then UFC came out. It was the new flashy toy. All eyes started going there. And boxing kind of went down a little bit. These men and women, the Clarissa Shields, the all the men boxers, I could sit here for hours and name just rows of boxers. But to all the men and women that came back and put boxing and put all the eyes back onto boxing to where it's at now, thank you. Thank you for doing all of that. You know, there's nothing more prestigious for me to like watch my favorite fighter and know that the level of competition is right there with him. You know, what good is it to watch your favorite fighter and he's just wiping everybody down because there's nobody his equal? You know, I always want to see that man coming around the corner. I've always been like that in my life. You know what I mean? And my opponent brings the best out of me. I'm that kind of fighter. You know, sometimes I fought fights that I probably didn't look as good in, or I didn't allow the moment, you know, for whatever reason, right? But when it was a fight where they said, yo, you're going to get your ass kicked, right? And I looked at the dude, like the dude aside from me and the other guys, you could see him because in the amateurs, they didn't have big locker rooms, right? So he was always on the like the other side of the bathroom. They would usually have us like set up in like hallways or like huge downstairs bathroom with showers. So they were like divided. And the other guy would be over there and I'd be here. And I remember. And the guy looked at me and goes, he's the 3-time Golden Glove champion, Edwin. This is your first Golden Glove opportunity. This was my first tournament I ever boxed in a Golden Glove. And mind you, just previous to that, my mother was hospitalized, so I couldn't train. I think I trained for like the last 2 weeks, right? And then I went into the fight, and the guy's my friend. He's sitting in front of me, and he says to me, "You're not going to be able to beat this guy. He's already won it 3 years in a row. So what I want you to do is go out there and just cover up and circle, and just at least try to do the jab, but don't let him knock you out." And I looked at him like, "What? Don't let him knock me out? He's going to beat me? What?" And inside, I was furious. I was so mad inside because I was like, dude, you don't believe in me? You don't think I could beat this guy? Yo, I was so mad, right? That inside, I can remember this day. I was just sitting there contemplating, thinking it over, and I was saying to myself, he's going to beat me? He's going to whoop my ass? All right, let's go. And I got up, and I remember going out there, just walking out there, and I was mad, but I was focused. I wasn't like enraged where I was crazy. Nah, it was eerie. I was like real calm, and it was just like I could see everything he was doing. When he was throwing the punches, it kind of looked slow. I was like, yo, I was not intimidated by this dude. And I just turned it up. I was like, I swear to God, I turned it up. And I remember just going forward, hitting him. I ended up knocking him out in 35 seconds. I won my first Golden Glove. That was a big moment in my life right there. And I had knew at that moment that it was the level of my competition. I knew that that guy brought that fight out of me. In that moment in my life, I recognized, wait a minute, had I just looked at his muscles, looked how tall he is, and I was thinking for him, and one of those kind of situations, I might have lost the fight, right? But in that situation right there, I allowed myself to accept my situation and say and embrace it and say, you want to go? Let's go. I'm gonna give you the best I got. And I was just so focused. So I understand that. I understand that as a fighters, and when you have a good dancing partner, it makes for a much better fight. And Terence Crawford, to me, has in the future, right now as it stands, he looks to have the better dancing partners out of the two. So I really see that Terence Crawford could respond to this. The Japanese superstar looks like he's going to fight Luis Nares. I don't hold me to that. Don't hold me to that. I've been looking and doing a little searching on it, and it seems like that fight is almost done. They're saying for like May or whatever, right? Okay. At this point in the Japanese career, he can switch and change his mind at any point. You do understand that he's the type of man right now that's in the situation that if somebody else comes and whispers in his ear a bigger payday, a bigger fight, and a lucrative more offer, he may take it. Okay. But I do see him staying at the 122-pound weight division and fighting and making a title defense. He said he wanted to stay there for a year. So in calculation, a year at least guarantees us 2 fights with him, at least, at minimum. If he stays in 122 pounds, the Japanese fighter will fight at minimum 2 times. Okay, next year, right, which is right around the corner. So I'm inclined to think he would fight 3 times, but it's kind of hard as a man of his status to schedule 3 fights. When he was not revered as such a big champion, it was a little bit easier because there wasn't a lot at stake. At this point in his career, you got to notify a lot of people he's going to fight. Odds makers, book hotels. The city of Japan brings in revenue when he fights. All those hotels are making money. They're not going to book other stupid shows or stupid things. They're gonna, if you call, they're gonna be like, nah, we ain't got no rooms, because they know the Naoya Inui fight is coming, and they got people coming from out of town. So when you schedule his fights now, they're not just regular fights. That's why he might not fight 3 times a year, because it's kind of big. All the promotional, the pay-per-view networks that are going to start to jump in it, whether or not he comes to America and you get Las Vegas, X, Y, and Z, etc., etc., etc. And that's, it's big. So I've seen him fighting at least twice, because he is active, and then making his move to 126 or going past 126 and going to 130, because he's had the tendency of jumping past a weight division. So I can't really say that he'll just, it seems logical. The next step would be 126. This guy is showing that he's built different. The Japanese superstar is built different. He's showing that, he has the skill and he's not afraid. The beautiful thing about this gentleman, right, the Japanese superstar, I've never seen him shy away from anyone. He's never ducked anybody. He's never bypassed. He stood focused though. He didn't allow shit talking to turn him around, which is very good. There were a lot of fighters that called him out. That doesn't mean he's ducking them, right? Like Casamero, right? He just didn't have anything the Japanese fighter wants. What, you have a big mouth? So what? You don't have any belts. If you were good and you wanted to fight me, you should have won the fights to put you in place to fight me. If you lost, well, then I'm fighting the guy that you lost to because he has what I want, world titles. So, throughout his career, he really showed that he with every opportunity, every champion that presented himself, he was willing to step up and accept the challenge, and that was really good. Victor, what's up? Oh, Victor's not your name. In a live stream, Victor, a member of Crawford's team, and you guys want to know something? You know that Snap little team that Crawford is associated with. There's a lot of boxers in boxing right now that's associated with that. Um, what's it called again? Snap. SNC, SN, SNAC, right? Stack. And the owner and founder, I believe the CEO and the president, that guy's been in jail. He went to jail for steroid use, for selling steroids to athletes. He did his prison time, he did his suspension time, then he got out and he helped build back up that brand. Everybody that's seen in pictures with that guy, always a lot of people say that all his fighters and people that work in his strength and conditioning treatment all do steroids because the man has been all over social media and his mouth seems to be the one thing that he can't run from. He's made videos 2 and 3 years ago where he blatantly admitted, if you're working with me, you're probably doing steroids. Now that he got out of jail, he's saying, yeah, that was back then. I don't do that anymore. I'm doing a clean thing here. He's the man that invented the steroid itself that most athletes used to get past the piss test and the drug tests. He made all the steroids that passes all the tests until they found out how to catch his steroid. So, and then once that steroid they found the form to detect it, he went and made another one. This dude was like a mad scientist, genius. And America's like that. With enough money, you can buy your way out of anything. He did his prison time, served his suspension for being in the sport. Once that was expired, they allowed him to come back to the sport. What do you think that man's going to do? That's all he knows how to do. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, that's what it is. Let's read some of these comments. What do you think of Naoya's performance against Tapales? Do you think he should move more, use footwork more instead of straight rights in front of Tapales? Neither. None of that. He shouldn't do any of that. You know why? Because he doesn't fight the same person. He doesn't fight the fighter the same. None of the fighters. The reason why he did that against Tapales was for a reason. Yeah. He stood in front of Tapales and he did that in front of Tapales is because that's what he felt like he can do in front of him. If in any situation he needs to move, use his footwork, he will do it. He's shown it time and time again. Wherever the fight, whichever direction it takes, that's how he'll fight the fight. You see? So in this case, perhaps he wanted to stand in front of Tapales and show Tapales, bro, you don't punch harder than me. Okay, I'll stand here in front of you. I'll fight you at your fight, elite fighter. You see? It's not that he had an issue with Tapales. It's not that Tapales gave him a hard time. I don't even think. I think Naoya Inoue, truth be told, after the first round, he knew he had Tapales in the bag. I think he stretched out the fight a little bit more to get some work in, to give the fans, and to piece up Tapales. You know, um, it showed that the Japanese superstar had Tapales figured out a lot earlier. Then, for some reason, he came out and switched up his style to favor Tapales. The only time you do that as a fighter is because pretty much you're bored in the ring. You're giving him an opportunity. Because if the Japanese superstar wanted to not allow Tapales to touch him, I truly believe Tapales would have never touched him. The Japanese superstar made it a fight, just in case if you want to know. He made it a better fight and allowed it to be a more competitive fight. But because he did that, then you have to hold him to that. You have to hold the Japanese superstar and now give credit to Tapales for what he chose to do in the ring. Just like I say about Terence Crawford. If you could end your opponent, then you should have did it. By you not doing that and playing with your food, that's on you. That's on the Japanese superstar for allowing Tapales to stick around for as long as he did. You see? But I think that it probably would have been even a boringer fight if the Japanese superstar didn't allow the Tapales to touch him. Then in that aspect, the fight might have went 12 rounds. Because I don't think that he would have moved in for the kill. He would have just been on the outside, piecing Tapales up. Tapales would have took those punches for 12 rounds if the Japanese superstar didn't stay still and sit down on his punches and really hit him with some power shots. As long as he doesn't sit down on his punches and he's on his bicycle on the tip of his toes, he might hit hard, but he's not hitting him with all his power. And Tapales could have took that for 12 rounds, and it would have been a little bit lackluster of a performance for the Japanese superstar. By him going in, softening Tapales up for a few rounds, then ending the night, what he was trying to do was look for a spectacular knockout. That's what he was doing. And the way you can get that is because you beat up your opponents, and what happens round by round, his hands keep dropping just that much more of fatigue and the beating. Round by round, his hands just keep going down just a little bit more until you're in that round and in that moment where he's just a little too tired to worry about his defense. He's just worried about offense right now. And that's where you want to be in the fight. That's where you can get those knockouts because he's not defensively sound anymore. He's a little too gassed. So he resorted all his energy to his offense. And that's what the Japanese superstar did to Marlon Tapales. He chose to break him down and then wanted to get that spectacular one. But when he hit him with that shot between the guard, what he didn't know was Tapales had a great poker face. He didn't show the Japanese superstar that he was that hurt. And with a not such a hard punch, he ended the fight. He was really, really, really hurt. And Marlon Tapales had a great poker face. That's why I think the Japanese superstar was surprised when he finally went down, because what he was doing was softening him up, and he was expecting to get a big knockout. That's what he did all that work to get him in the 10th round, to soften him right up, to be like, I got you now, and I want a highlight reel, baby. And when he went to give him that right, like, pop, he just went down. He was like, fuck, there goes my highlight reel. There goes my highlight. Man, I worked all night to get myself in position to beat your ass up so that your hands drop this much so that I can knock you out. And you went and laid down on that punch. He was hurt. He was hurt, but he had a good game face on, and neither did the Japanese superstar being in the ring with him could identify that. Fair play to Tapales. Good strategy, good poker face, well played. Unfortunately, he just took too much damage, and it wasn't his night. The Japanese superstar showed that he is levels above a lot of people, and he is truly doing his job. As far as Terence Crawford goes, Terence Crawford is also doing his job. He is a superior elite athlete, boxer. He has his own unique style, and he has mastered it. Uh, it was a masterful performance that he did to Errol Spence Jr. And it's a shame that his dancing partner didn't show up the way he wanted him to. Because by Errol Spence Jr. looking the way he did, it kind of takes away from Terence Crawford's performance in a way. Because people are going to say that wasn't the real Errol Spence Jr. And that sucks for Terence Crawford. Because that's not Terence Crawford's fault. He did his job. He showed up. He stayed dedicated to the sport. This guy wants to flip Ferraris and get in multiple car accidents and do whatever God knows what else he was doing. When Terence Crawford was doing his job, he is truly a man dedicated to the sport of boxing. One thing you also see with Terence Crawford that you can keep in mind with the Japanese superstar, don't you see a similar pattern? You don't see Terence Crawford out in the clubs. You don't see Terence Crawford with all the gold chains. You don't see him hanging around with all the celebrities, do you? No. Terence Crawford fights and goes back to Omaha and trains. He is a student and a master of the game. Same mindset that the Japanese superstar has. Superior mindset. Elite fighters. Recognizes the patterns and the similarities between these two men and why they're in this conversation. Because that's what elite fighters look like. That's where the bar is set. That's why I say we need to get behind both these men so that they keep our sport up. And to all the young fighters that are coming up, they need to look at these two men and mirror their careers after them. Terence Crawford don't be fucking around. He don't be in Vegas throwing it up. None of that. You don't never see Terence Crawford with gold chains, all that stuff. The only chain I've ever seen Terence Crawford with was that prime chain that they gave to him and that they paid him to wear. The prime people. They were like, not only are we going to buy this 100,000 plus chain for you, right? But we're also going to pay you to wear it. And he only wore it that one time. That's not what he's about. He's about the gladiator life. He's about that life. He's about that. You know what I'm saying? He's not a talker. You know how some men would be like, I'm about that life. I'm a fighter. I'll do this. But you don't train. You're not in there fucking killing yourself. No. Terence Crawford is truly about that life. And I love him. I love him. I love him as a fighter. I understand him as a fighter. I also understand that he could have been a better champion. That's for a later video. I'm not going to sit here and keep talking about what ifs or my opinion on what Terence Crawford could have been. It's been stated. Bob Arum hold him back. A lot of decision makings hold him back. Same case with the great Floyd Mayweather. Had it not been for him buying himself out of Bob Arum's contract with Top Rank, it's not that I don't think. I know he would not have become the man he is today had he not left Top Rank. That's the truth. Floyd Mayweather would not be the man if he would have had stayed with Top Rank. So Terence Crawford chose to do the same thing. He has an opportunity to really solidify himself as amongst the legends in our sport. So I can't wait to see what lies. I just need him to get the hell out of this rematch with Errol Spence Jr. I wish we were already past that. I truly do. I really do. I wish we were past that, because tell me right now, how many of you out there really want to see that fight a second time? And how many of you want to see that fight a second time at 154? Do you think just because he adds on a couple of pounds, that's going to bring him more skill? Does weight bring you fighting skill? I never heard that in my life. If you couldn't fight before you put on the weight, you ain't going to be able to fight after you put on the weight. You can't fight. I'm not saying Errol Spence Jr. can't fight, right? I'm just saying, hypothetically, that's where you're at. If you could only fight this well while you were depleted, how does adding 5 pounds make you a superior fighter overnight? All that time off, all those layoffs caught up to your ass, Errol Spence Jr. That's what happened. It all caught up to him. He has years of catching up to Terence Crawford. The great Kobe Bryant said it best in a statement in one of his things before he passed away. He said, I worked this hard because I've been working this hard for 5 years. And if you decide to start working out today, I got 5 years of this workout in front of you. You'll never catch up to me. You'll never be at my level. Because he would have to stop working out in order for him to catch up to him. You understand that when you put your body through these workouts and these trainings, your body is in shock. You have trained your body to receive punches, to work out, to hold your breath for this long, to last for this long. You are trained. Your eye-to-eye coordination is on point. Your reflex twitch muscles, your understanding that what you think and your feet are coinciding with each other. You take a year off of that, and you might feel like you're doing okay. But when the pressure comes, all of a sudden your body's going to start to, what's the word I'm looking? It's gonna betray you. Your body's going to betray you. It's not going to respond. Just like Jamel Charlo went up to try to fight Saul Canelo Alvarez at 168, his body didn't respond. No matter if he was fighting in that weight, once he put on the weight, he was too sluggish. His body, and he was coming off a year layoff with a broken hand. Let's remember all the factors he came into the fight with, and it showed right there. That's what I mean about boxing, that you can't take time off like that, and it's important to keep your body in that shock all year round. You must maintain that. If you let that go for 3 months, once you haven't worked out for 3 months, your body will reset. You might know everything. That's just like you saying, I always know how to ride a bike, right? But do you always know how to do a flip off of a ramp? You would have to practice that. If you practice for a whole year doing a flip off of a ramp, right, and you finally land it, you take a year off from doing that flip, come back on your first try, pick up that bike, and think you're going to do a flip. All we're going to hear is the ambulance. Yo, because you're going to break your neck. It would be ridiculous, right? It is the same thing in any sport. You can't take time off. So I made this video because I really wanted to allow to talk about the two best fighters in the world right now. The two best fighters in the world are really, really putting eyes to the sport. And I really don't want to open the can of worms and bring their records into it. I just want to get to the healing process already. I want to get over it. Fine. The Japanese superstar, you got number one? Cool. You're the number one best fighter in the world. Fair play. Hats off to you. Let's just keep it pushing. Let's keep it pushing. Let's not stay here and try to go, no, and build cases for each other, because you might not like the way it turns out. You really don't want to put Terence Crawford's record against the Japanese superstar's record. You're not going to want to do that. You're not. You know, as an impressive of a record that Terence Crawford has, his most impressive achievement, the Japanese superstar has. He just achieved it. And if that's the best thing you have on your record, and he just caught you, what's the second best thing you have in your record? Oh, you're a 3-division world champion? Well, the Japanese is a 4. You don't want to do this, bro. Oh, you won your first title and it took you 6 years? It took him 1. Oh, it took you a little over 10 years to unify in 2 divisions? It took him over a little year and a half. Oh, you got 9 consecutive title fights in a row, Terence Crawford? He has 21. Like, you don't want to go down this road, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to get rocked. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to, Terence Crawford fan, don't do it, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want to go that way. Can we just keep it? Bro, they both elite fighters. You know what I'm saying? And if my guy got number 2, well, that's saying a lot. Let's just think about this. Currently, in the sport of boxing, in the men's division, just the men's division, not the women's. I'm not counting the women's division. But in the men's division, from the 108 to the heavyweight, there are there's probably a little under 19,000 registered fighters in the world. And now I'm guessing this. I'm kind of like estimating it. There's about, I would say, 19,000 registered fighters on any given division. There's anywhere between 500 and 1,000 fighters registered at any given time in one division. Now, that's just an average. There's probably more in some divisions, 2,000 fighters, 3,000 fighters in just one division. Okay, but I'm just rounding it off. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, there's 20,000 registered boxers in the world, worldwide, registered. You mean to tell me out of 20,000 fighters, we're talking about number 1 and 2? Out of 20,000 fighters in the world, Terence Crawford and the Japanese superstar are the only 2 fighters we're talking about. What the hell does that say? I don't care. You could be number 1 or number 2. You guys are right there. You mean to tell me that you 2 guys are the greatest fighters in the world? Out of all the registered fighters in the world, they're the most skilled. That's what we're saying. And there's no shame in being number 2. There's no shame in it. Not at this. You know, it's not like a race where you won and the first place guy is like, you came in second. We're not in a race. We're not in a race. We're just competing. And even if you're number 1, guess what? You're still standing right here next to me. You know, this is a different number 1 and 2. My man, 20,000 fucking fighters, bro? And you mean to tell me out of 20 fucking thousand fighters, you 2 are the toughest men? Like, bro, like, that's fucking remarkable, man. I'm not gonna say they're the toughest men by standard, by like heavyweights or whatever, but they're the most skilled. Stay with me. They're the most skilled in the world, those 2 men. And that's saying a lot right there. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the fact that, in the history books, it's going to go down X, Y, and Z point in time. Terence Crawford was number 1. He can come back and recapture that. That will go down in history, that he was considered the number 1 best fighter in the world. That's an award, and Fighter of the Year is an award. It's an individual achievement for you, which means that your hard work finally paid off to an ultimate level, at an elite level. That's why these fighters want recognition for this. Truth be told, the pound for pound list is a fucking opinionated fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Boxers really, a lot of them really don't care about this, and some do. Because when you say you don't care about the pound for pound list, that's kind of you agreeing that you don't care where your hard work brought you and what the rest of the world and all the boxers see that your hard work and your life's work brought you that award. So when you start to get in the conversation for that award, now it starts to mean something. When there's a guy that he's on the outside looking in, like Keith Thurman, he's going to say that the pound for pound list ain't shit. Yeah, well said from a man that's not on it. You see? But for the men and women that are on the list, that's a status, a badge of where your skills and hard work has brought you. And there's where the importance for the individual lies. That's where, it is an honor to be called that. There are a lot of men that have had that title. And when you could walk around and actually say that in one point in your career in time, you were the number one fighter in the world, shit, that's saying a lot. That's saying you beat out 20,000 fucking people in your sport. That is truly saying a lot. So, to the men and women and gentlemen that try to play that role, pound for pound don't mean shit. It's an opinionated list. Well, then take your opinion that way and don't worry about what we're talking about. How about that? You see? Because for the men and women that value this, that say, you know what? I want to be recognized as a pound for pound fighter. I accept that challenge and I will work harder to get myself on that list because that's the kind of recognition I want to be associated with. That even if I don't get up to the number one spot, I am talked about and revered among these kind of men. Longest I'm on the list, I made it. I made it. Now let's see how far I can go up the list. But the longest I got on the list, I made it. I made it. I made it with all of you guys. You see? So that's why that, it is something. It does mean something. It really does. So, let me read up on some of these comments, bro. I pushed this thing up, and you guys have probably been texting away, and I haven't been seeing them. Holy shit balls. Oh, shit. Listen to the rhythm. What's up? Donation. Round one, baby. $1.99. There we go. Yo, I didn't even know. My shit was all the way up. Mark, what's up? Listening to Naoya. He's a pound for pound fighter of the year. Song, what's up? LM, what's up? Damn, you guys got some funny freaking names, dude. The Arctic, what's up? Man, this dude had a lot to say. I think the which stands about Crawford is it's just his style. It's his style, Crawford's style. You want to know something? That's what they're trying to do to Errol Spence Jr. right now. And I talked about this. Ryan Garcia took a body shot, and the athletic board commission deemed him suspended for after that fight from taking a body shot from Tank Davis. They gave him a 6-month suspension. Coming out of the Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight, Errol Spence Jr. was deemed cleared by the Athletic Boxing Association, right? They only suspended him for 2 months for taking that massive ass whooping. They gave Ryan Garcia 6 months for a body shot, and they gave Errol Spence Jr. 2 months because Terence Crawford's people wanted to pressure him to give up the rematch clause, to break the contract so that Terence Crawford is free from his obligation to the rematch. Because remember, going into the fight, Terence Crawford only had 1 belt. Errol Spence Jr. was the A side. He was the A side. And the A side dictated what was going on. So here's a real tricky situation. If you have never signed the boxing contract, I'm here to tell you that when they signed that contract for that fight, both fighters were undefeated, right? Cocky and arrogant. Both fighters thought they were going to win the fight. So when they were signing on the dotted line, Terence Crawford said, "What do you want the rematch at?" And Errol Spence Jr. looked at him and said, "Rematch? I'm going to beat you so bad you ain't going to want to fight me." Terence Crawford looked at him and said, "I'm going to do the same to you." He said, "So what? The rematch will be at 147. Just sign the paperwork. We're not going to run this back." Boom. Errol Spence Jr. ends up losing the fight. $20 donation. Woo! Errol Spence Jr. Lost the fight. So what happened was, I'm going to send you a shout out. Hold on. E. So what happened was, when they went back to renegotiate, if you never signed the contract, the fight was signed at 147, not at 154. In order to alter that contract, both parties have to be in agreement. All Terence Crawford had to do was say, "No, I don't want to fight you at 154. We signed this contract at 147. You're going to have to come back, Errol Spence Jr., and come down and make weight again at 147 if you want to fight me." Terence Crawford, the only wrong move he did was when his coach whispered in his ear and said, "Bro, people are not going to want to see Errol Spence Jr. depleted at 147. Give the man a break. Fight him at 154. They should have thought that through. They should have thought that through. And Terence Crawford said, "Yeah, I agree to fight you," because it was early. It was fresh off the win. He didn't think it through. And he said, "Yeah, I'll alter the contract. I accept to fight you at 154. And once he signed to alter it, now it made a new contract. Now he's committed to the 154 contract. He should have never did that. Had he just waited a little bit and got some more advice, he would have saw that he could have bluffed his way out of the fight. Terence Crawford doesn't want to make 147, right? So what he would have did was say, "Yo, Errol Spence Jr., fuck that. No 154. I want 147. Errol Spence Jr. wasn't going to make 147 again and look good. He'd have been like, "Man, fuck it." And he would have did away with the rematch clause, and Terence Crawford would have been like, "Woo! I can't fight at 147 no more. I got to go up to 154. And they would have the same fight at 154, shall they choose it. Right? But Terence Crawford, to show that he wasn't like bullshitting with Errol Spence Jr., and to show Errol Spence Jr., whatever you want, I'll fight you anywhere you want, I'm going to beat you, he agreed to it early. And he did. He altered the contract from 147 to 154. And that's a legal binding contract now. Now he's obligated to the 154. Had he thought it out just a little bit more, he could have got out of that fucking Errol Spence Jr. rematch. What is your name? Ed Finn? Ethan? Ethan. Ethan. No, it's not Ethan, right? Ethan's with thing. Finally caught up to your live, and now you're gonna get what's coming to you. My appreciation. $20, my man. Round one sports talk to my man. You guys are funny. All right, I agree completely. Eddie, Eddie, what's up, baby? Eddie, thank you for your donation, $20. I appreciate you, brother. And yeah, look, he I don't want to see that fight against Errol Spence Jr. I really don't want to see that man take another beating, bro, because I fucking love me some Errol Spence Jr., bro. Whenever he went to fucking overseas and beat Kell Brook, bro, I can't tell you the excitement, bro. A tear came out of my eye. I'll keep it funky with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Bro, a tear came out of my eyes, man, watching that man beat Kell Brook. I didn't think Errol Spence Jr. was going to beat Kell Brook, if you ask me. Is that I know that Kell Brook went up and he lost, but in that weight division, nobody beat Kell Brook. Nobody. And I was like, wow. You know, he made me a fan that day. And I love me some Errol Spence Jr., man. But I honestly do not believe that Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford are on the same skill level. Errol Spence Jr. fared well against all his competition because that was his competition. Terence Crawford, it was just too skilled above a lot of these people. And although he had some good impressive names, I don't think that Terence Crawford had an equal dancing partner. His dancing partner was supposed to be Errol Spence Jr. It really was. And he didn't show up to the dance, whether it was caused by him or by his injuries. Only he knows that. But besides Errol Spence Jr., who brought out the best fight in Terence Crawford? Who? Who? Sean Porter? With that Sean Porter? Sean Porter looked a little wild in there, like a little madman. He was crazy. He has a great style like that. That's how he fights. Okay, that's Sean Porter's style. I don't think it was a really great, entertaining fight. Um, Somebody help me out with this. Edwin Machado, The Truth, Round One Sports Talk. What's up? $5 donation! Round One Sports Talk, my man. What up, baby? Brother, I can't say your name, man. I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to say some bullshit. I'm not going to do it. But you know who you are. Thank you very much. It's up on the screen. Maddie, what up? You know I'm going to. And you know this, man. You know I'm going to blaze something up. Shit. This shit right here. All right. Porter. um, uh, uh, Porter, the Porter fight with Terence Crawford was a good fight because Sean Porter, at some point in that fight, was winning the fight. Remember that. He was actually winning the fight until they whispered in Terence Crawford's ear and he got up off that stool and was like, I'm done playing with you, little guy. And he knocked him the freak out. You know what I'm saying? When he got off that stool like that and he showed me that he could have knocked him out at any time, I was like, man, this guy was playing around with this dude this whole time. He was allowing, he respected Sean Porter as a brother. He didn't really want to really hurt him, but he was going to do his job. But at the same time, I don't think he wanted to destroy him. But and then when Sean Porter was they were saying that he was winning the fight and he was becoming bigger than what he was, he had to put him down, and he put him down. So I learned a lot from Terence Crawford in that fight that night. Terence Crawford has had some strong opponents, some very good, high quality of opponents. You know, for God's sake, he is in a glamour division. So most of the opponents he comes across, we may know of them, you know, and the opponents that we didn't, we know of them because they came into a fight with Terence Crawford. You see? So, look, bottom line, bottom line, who's Terence Crawford? Who is he? He's the undisputed 147-pound champion of the world that was recently stripped of the IBF, and they gave it to Jerron Bruce Ennis. He's a two-time undisputed champion of the world. That's who Terence Crawford is. That's who he is. That's his life work right there. So at the end of the day, who are we talking about? One of the best to ever do it in our time, in this time, not of all time. I'm not saying all time. I'm saying right now. And sometimes some conversations get crazy when people start judging fighters from the past and the future, right? And sometimes that's a weak argument, because how could this guy be compared to Floyd Mayweather when they didn't fight in the same era? Okay, that's just fantasy island talk. That's what if. I'm talking about what is. And what is right now currently, Terence Crawford is the best American fighter in the world. Let's just remember that if we were looking at it as, yeah, our American fighter, he is the top American fighter right now in the world, right? Saul Canelo Alvarez is the top Mexican fighter in the world. The Japanese superstar is the top Japanese fighter in the world. You see? And etc., and etc., and etc. Each of these men are representing their country, okay, proudly, and they all should be. And that's how we also should measure it. That if we were talking about the best fighter in America, hands down, it's Terence Crawford. It's not even close. You know, Devin Haney, you know, he's there, but he's behind Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is leading the way. He is number one in America. That hasn't changed. That has not changed. Okay? The Japanese superstar is number one in Japan. Not in America. He's not an American fighter. He's a Japanese fighter. He's not our number one fighter. So let's just keep that in mind. That although we're going back and forth for pound, 1 and 2, okay? Terence Crawford's status in America has never swayed. It's never dipped. It's never bent. Ain't nobody next to him. As far as money and selling out events, Tank Davis is right there, but not in accomplishments. The real number one fighter in America is Terence Crawford. Nobody got him beats in awards. Nobody got him beat in accomplishments. No one. So he's always going to have that title. Do all right. Yeah, Naoya will be overly prepared for Neres. This is an awesome channel. Danny, what's up, baby? Do you guys remember the statement that the Japanese superstar made prior coming into the fight with Tapales? A reporter asked him, he said to him, yo, why can't you take a tune-up fight? And the Japanese superstar said, I don't have the mental strength to fight a tune-up fight. I need maximum mental motivation, which means he needs to think that you oppose the challenge for him to get ready to fight you. What's up, my man? Snake, baby! Round one! Snake! $10 donation for my man, Snake Dog, baby. We're going to give you a bell at Round One Sports Talk. Thank you for your donation. Snake! What's up, baby? Yo, that's my dog right there. He's been with me for a while. Yo, so I think that's kind of yeah. You get the point though. You get the point, right? um Look, I kind of lost my track of thought right there for a second, but look, Terence Crawford and the Japanese superstar, you know, I'm proud of both men for what their accomplishment in the sport of boxing. Hats off to both of them and their accomplishments. Um, you know, this is a real unique time of boxing. I never thought I would see the Red Sox win a World Series, and after 86 years, they finally won one. It's ridiculous, right? You know, Halley's Comet comes around every 77 years. The lining of the planets are every 1,000 years. There are some things on this world you will not live to see. And I never thought I was going to live to see a man hold all four belts in two separate weight divisions, not just one, but two of them. Do you see how far we can go in the sport of boxing if given the opportunity, and to see how far your skills can take you? Allow these gentlemen, and not to get in their way in the politics and the ugly side of boxing, with all the interfering. If they were allowed these men to really go as far as their skills, that I would like to see. There have been many men and women in the sport of boxing that their careers were held back because they weren't given the opportunity, or the other guy avoided them. Pay-per-view people didn't want to work with them. Promoters didn't want to work with each other. They were feuding over past fight deals that fell through or didn't go well, and now they didn't want to work with each other. And guess who paid the price for that? The fighter. The fighter did, and the fans. We were deprived from seeing these fights, just like we were deprived from seeing Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford 5 years ago. We should have seen that fight 5 years ago. 6 years ago, we should have seen that fight now. Okay? And it didn't happen. And when it finally happened, it really didn't live up to the hype and expectation we once thought it should be. You know, and that was disappointing for me. And now here we are talking about the very thing we knew coming into the fight. That fight was 5 years too late, two car accidents too late, one a detached retina too late, a year, 18 months layoff too late for Errol Spence Jr. And we all knew this. We all knew this, but yet we still want to give him credit for the man he once was, his name. And that's what I believe Terence Crawford fought. Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence Jr.'s name, not the fighter he once was. And that's what was disappointing for me in that fight. What up, Maddie? Thank you for a great channel. God to go bless you, everyone. Till next time. All right, brother. Peace out. Ben. Hmm. You know something? If Naoya Inoue fights Luis Nares first, and MJ has the next crack because of the time eliminator that he fought for the WBA, Where does Casemiro lie, right? Because I really kind of want to see the Japanese superstar whoop Casemiro's ass, but I don't think he deserves the fight. And probably his health is not at the best. You know, um, he looked pretty bad in his last fight. He looked like he gassed out kind of in the first round, if you ask me. Between the first and second, he didn't look good. He didn't look good. Um, and then with his health situation, um, the effects to what he got, the gout shit, right? It causes fatigue and tiredness and shortness of breath. I think is some of the side effects to that shit. I never had it, but I believe that somebody said it. I heard it somewhere. I just don't know where. So I don't even think it's health. And I think he's like 1 or 2 fights from retiring. He's getting old. Like I said, Casemiro's just barking, bro. I don't really think he's gonna I don't think he deserves a fight with the Naoya Inoue, and he doesn't have his time to waste. Naoya Inoue needs that kind of focus for an elite fighter that he feels that can oppose a challenge. He doesn't want to go into a fight where he doesn't think that this guy is not even on his level. At times, he has to convince himself that this guy is tougher than what he is, because in reality, I think he thinks this guy's not on my level, but I got to at least make it so that he can give me a fight. What an amazing feeling to really be that guy that walks into a room and you are the most skilled fighter in that room. That at times you got to help your fighter because that guy hasn't come. You must look across the ring every time and ask that guy, are you the one to beat me? Nope, not you. On to the next. Are you the one? It's like he hasn't tasted defeat. He hasn't been put down. Nothing. He must be really bored sometimes. Yo, man, he's just that good. He's really just that good. And it's impressive that I feel like he has to trick himself into believing that the other guy poses a threat to him. That's crazy to think. But it's truly remarkable what he's doing, and I love this guy. I love his fighting style. I love the entertainment that he brings. I love the value that he brings to the sport. I also understand and acknowledge what he's doing for the sport. Do you realize what he's doing for Japanese fighters out there right now? For Filipino fighters, for people all the way in that region. He's making them believe, yo, this is possible on some Manny Pacquiao shit. He's bringing eyes to his stablemates and his countrymen. And a lot of other people are looking at Japanese fighters that are also, just as good. His countrymen got a brutal knockout over Maloney. That was like gonna be like knockout of the year or something. That was fucking crazy. That knockout was crazy over Maloney. And the eyes and the attention that he's bringing to that country, Japan, right now, hats off to you, brother. When any man can do that from where you were born at, bro, that's saying something. You're that guy. That's an awesome feeling. That is something truly remarkable when you can look back at your life and say, bro, I brought my city on the map. I put people on my people. When your people are like, yo, represent for us. Yo, there can't be no greater feeling than that. That's fucking everything, bro. That's awesome that your people look at you like the fucking... that's just a great feeling, bro. Fucking like, man, that's what I live for, bro. If I could ever be in a fucking moment like that, man, had I fucking, listen to my mother when I was younger, I didn't, And that's just truly amazing what they're doing. Both these fighters. Let me read some of your comments. Canelo is good, man. Winning gets Naoya. I think sometimes a lot of people are getting toughness mixed up with skill. Casemiro might be a tough man. He might be a hard punching man. He might be a durable man. He might have a great chin, right? He might be willing to stand there and slug it out with you. Okay? He's tough. He's not highly skilled. I mean, he's skilled. His skill level is enough to be at the skill level in boxing, to be talked about as some of the bigger men in boxing with the bigger names. He has that kind of skill. Okay? It got him this far. Okay? So you can't deny that. Casemiro has fighting skill. He's my definition of a tough guy. Casemiro. That's a tough guy. Okay? And if you're going to fight him at his game, he might beat you at his game. Because once again, that's a tough guy, right? The Japanese superstar is not going to fight him as a tough guy. He's going to pick him apart with solid shots. He's going to break him. Those tough hooks, that tough guy, Movado, and that chin that he has is not going to come into effect in a fight against the Japanese superstar. Because the Japanese superstar is not a tough guy. He's a skilled guy with power. And in order for Casemiro to be effective, he has to lure you into a firefight. You see? In order for his style to be effective, you got to meet him in the middle of the ring and slug it out with Casemiro. That's his style of fighting. The Japanese superstar is not going to meet him in the middle of the ring the way he wants him to meet him. He'll meet him in the middle of the ring because the Japanese superstar is not going to shy away. He doesn't shy away from anybody, right? He's just not going to meet him in the middle of the ring the way Casemiro thinks. He thinks it's going to be, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you. That's not what's going to happen. It's going to be, you miss, he hits you, you missed again, he hits you again, you missed again, he hit you again. And you're going to be like, wait a minute, I don't want to stand in there no more. Because it's not going the way he thought it was going to go. You see, in Casemiro's head, he's like, I'm going to punch him, he's going to punch me, I'm going to punch him, he's going to punch me, we're going to keep punching each other. That's not how it's going to go. It's going to be a lot of missing this way and a lot of connecting this way. That's what it's going to look like. What up? What up, May? What? What's that say? And what? And what? And what? Bro, I'm talking about a 13-year-old boy. Wait a minute. Let me back this conversation up. What the hell did this go? He's a brawler. Yes. Casemiro has fast feet, too. Enough to catch Naoya. He might be able to catch him with his feet, but can he catch him with his punches? You see what I'm saying? What good is it to have fast feet? Stephen Kubo Fulton had fast feet. How'd that work out for him? Paul Butler had fast feet. How'd that work out for him? There's been a lot of feet. Donaire has fast feet. No, Donaire has smart feet. I take that back. His feet might be fast. He has smart feet. There's a difference. There's a lot of people in boxing that came up against the Japanese superstar that had fast feet, were fast. They just didn't have the complete package. And that's what makes him an elite and a unique fighter, the Japanese superstar, because we talk about this. He has everything. You see, some fighters come in, they might have power and be okay everywhere else. Some fighter might come in, they might be extremely speed, have a lot of speed, but not a lot of power. Some fighters might have a lot of good footwork and movement, but they don't got no power and nothing to keep the person off of him. Just like Chris Colbert came into that fight against Valenzuela, right? Chris Colbert had good footwork. He has a good jab. He just didn't have enough power. It was a smaller guy fighting a bigger guy, and Valenzuela was a weight bully that was fighting little bumblebee, Chris Colbert, that was just too small for him. And when he finally caught up to him, all that footwork and all that running around the ring, it all came to a halting, a screeching halt when he connected. And that's all he needed. That's all he needed. So footwork is not going to win you the fight, because at some point you're going to have to stand there and get points. You're going to have to exchange with your opponent. You can only run for so long. You see? And here's the trick about footwork. If you don't understand angles, you're not utilizing your footwork to the best of its ability. If you don't understand distance and timing, then your footwork is only you're only utilizing it to evade. There's a lot of things that come in with footwork that not every boxer has. You see? And you see, as a boxer, I know what I'm looking for. When I'm watching it, I know exactly what I'm looking for, right? To everybody else, you might think your footwork just is utilized for one or two things, and it's not. Okay? If you got good twitch muscles, right, off your footwork, and you got a good spring in your step, you can dart in and out. Not everybody can do that. If you understand angles, you can cut the angles and know where you place your feet. You understand that you don't have to do a lot of movement to get from point A to point B. Sometimes it's just subtle steps forward. You don't have to be bouncing around, exerting too much unnecessary energy. So people with smart footwork understand that. You don't see them moving a lot, but just the subtle movement gets them from point A to point B without doing all that extra shit. The smart feet. You see, there's difference between these things. There's slightly difference in it. Casamaro's footwork is the type of footwork that he just utilizes it for evading purposes and for one step. He has that one step before he decides to make an exchange. That's all Casemiro has. He has the footwork that goes around, and then if you time it right, you can tell when he's throwing his punch. As soon as he lifts it off his foot and he sets that front foot down, that his foot touches the ground, that's when Casemiro throws punches. And a good coach would catch that, because I will catch it. I know what I'm looking for, though, and I know a coach is going to be able to catch that. Some coaches won't. Some fighters won't. In the heat of the moment, they don't pay attention to shit like that. But if you give me time to think, I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to figure that out, and elite fighters can do that. The Japanese superstar is an elite fighter. Those other fighters that didn't figure that out about him, whether he was doing something that didn't let them think, or maybe they lured themselves into a gunfight with him, whatever the case, I'm just saying to you that the Japanese superstar, he's on some Brady shit. He's reading the blitz. He's reading all the plays. He's reading the. That's what the Japanese superstar is doing in there. Everything you do, he's taking a read. He's reading everything you're doing at all times. You know, and case in point, in the Marlon Tapales fight, Marlon Tapales, I forget what it was. He did something, and the Japanese superstar came out. Oh, when Marlon Tapales went in the Philly shell for the 7th round, and he was winning that round, the next round he came out, he tried to switch it up. The Japanese superstar, Baba pieced him up. He went right back in the Philly shell, and the Japanese superstar figured it out. Instead of going in with one right jab, he doubled up on the right. Boom, boom, boom. He threw it twice, and he caught him because Marlon Tapales would evade the first punch, and he would stop. Not like Floyd Mayweather. When Floyd Mayweather did the Philly shell and you threw the first punch, he would lean back, and then he would shift his feet underneath him so that his feet did that skip, and he was able to evade the second punch. He was really good at it. Marlon Tapales' footwork is not that good, and he couldn't do that subtle step switch back. So when he was evading the first one with the Philly shell, and he was going like this, and he was leaning back, he was getting away from the first shot, but not the second one. And the Japanese superstar was able to make those reads, and he did that within one round. A good fighter, it would have took a good fighter 5 rounds, 4 or 5 rounds to figure that out. You see, an elite fighter does it in the moment, right in the moment. And that's what the Japanese superstar did. Right in the moment, he figured them out. And those are subtle things that as a fighter and a fight fan, man, you got to pick up on. You got to understand, wait a minute, this guy is reading a lot more in there. He's just not going out there just throwing punches, hoping to land a punch. No. What he's doing is setting up punches. There's a difference. Like Tank Davis did to Mario Barrios. Tank Davis was losing that fight against Mario Barrios, right? It was a competitive fight, but he was losing the fight. When Tank Davis came out in that round, in the beginning opening seconds of that round, right? He came over. He was throwing that shot all night straight to Mario Barrios. It was coming straight from right here. All night, he was punching Mario Barrio, trying to get through the guard. He wasn't connecting with the punch a lot, but he kept throwing it. Kept throwing it, right? When he came out in that round, that he went like this to Mario Barrio, and he flinched like this, Mario Barrio's guard went right here to block the punch coming in. And what he did was, he went like this, and he looped it. He went like that, and then he looped it, and he caught him. That was a punch that he set up all night. That's a setting up a punch. That's the difference between just throwing punches and allowing yourself to make reads, luring your opponent to sleep, allowing him to think that for 5 fucking rounds, 6 rounds, all my punches were straight. He's so accustomed of my punches going straight, the minute I alter its trajectory, you might just catch him. Don't miss your opportunity, though. You know, you've been working all night to set up that punch. Make sure you land it. You know what I'm saying? Song, what up, baby? Verbal. What? You think that Carol Samaro will be motivated for that fight against Naoya Inui? Do you really think he wouldn't be motivated? You're damn right he will be. You're damn right he will be, because that would be the biggest fight of his career. You are fighting arguably the number one best pound for pound fighter in the world, and you think that that guy, the opportunity of you being the first person to knock him down, knock him out, end his winning streak, be the one to defeat him, all that comes with a victory. And do you honestly think that Casemiro wouldn't put his best foot effort forward? Hell yeah, he is. Hell yeah, he is. And if your phrase, now I know exactly what you were saying. Are you calling Naoya Inoue a 13-year-old boy? Are you saying that the Japanese superstar would be like Casemiro fighting a 13-year-old boy? Is that what you're saying? Because that would be utterly ridiculous. For you to sit there and say that the Japanese superstar doesn't have power, there's no 13-year-old boy on planet Earth that can knock out people like that. There ain't no 13-year-old boy on planet Earth that can fight and win 4 belts and be at the top of the division. And if you're comparing Casemiro to the Japanese superstar, and you're putting down the Japanese superstar by calling him a 13-year-old boy, Casemiro has not achieved not even half of what he achieved, then what does that make Casemiro? Be careful with what you're saying. Before you diss a multiple division, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed champion, by saying that this guy that has how many weight divisions, how many belts does Casemiro have? Who has he beaten? I'll wait. I'll give you a little time to type too. Yeah, MJ have never got dropped. He's never been dropped. Casemiro's been dropped. Nave's been dropped. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. I dare this guy to take a gunshot from Naoya Inoue. You don't want to piss blood? Who wants to piss blood? Bro, why would you sign up for that? A voluntary body shot from the Japanese superstar? Talk about, go ahead. Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to piss blood for a week. You know what I'm saying? And that guy, people say things because they're truly a fan. And I can respect Casemiro's fan. And I can respect the guy even coming on saying these things about Naoya Inoue, because that's a real fan backing up his fighter. His fighter might not be here to talk shit on my channel, but his fan is. You see what I'm saying? And I respect that. I'm always going to respect that. On this channel, you don't have to agree with me for me and you to be friends, to be cool. Let's just remember that this is just debating boxing. Outside of this, well, I'm pretty sure all of us could be cool. You know what I'm saying? We're just passionate about what we like. And we're passionate about the sport of boxing. We're all a bunch of crazed fans and shit, right? And that's great. Do not let the sport die. Do not let it fade away. I'm glad that Casemiro fans in my chat. That's fucking awesome. All right? Just keep it cordial, and we can always talk. We might not see eye to eye. We might not coincide, but we are brothers. We are brothers in arms. We love boxing. And ain't that what we're talking about? That's right. You see? So I'm smart enough to know I love my rivals. Without my rival, what the hell would I be? If I didn't have no rival, it wouldn't make my sport more interesting. I love Casemiro for that. I love Luis Narez for that. I love MJ for that. Being the Japanese superstar's rival. Bring him a challenge. I am not afraid of competition. I've never shied away from it. And I don't believe the guy that I support should shy away from it, because if I'm supportive of it, damn it, there's a part of him. I feel like a part of him for a reason. And that's why I support that fighter in the first place. Anyway, as for me, I'm speaking for me. You see? So that's why, I'm smart enough to know I enjoy my rivals. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. I love the competition. Bud's two-time undisputed champ fighting in America. Yes, 100% number one. Facts. Yes, he is the 100% facts, the best American champion we have currently today in this time. Not the legends. I'm not talking about any of the legends. Their time is done and over with. They had their time. This is Terence Crawford's time. And as far as right now, Terence Crawford is the best American number one fighter in the world. That is 100% correct. The Japanese superstar is the number one Japanese fighter in Japan. He's representing his country. Terence Crawford is representing his country. And we're all competing against each other. They might not be in the same division, in the same bracket, but somehow their two names end up in the same place. Go figure. Go figure. They'll never actually fight each other. They're just too far apart, the Japanese dude and Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is just too big for him. Okay? But somehow their names are together. That goes to show the Japanese superstar got skills, baby. These two men are truly the most elite fighters we have today. We have other fighters that are up and coming that are just as matched, but just like in the sport of boxing, there are a lot of fights we want to see. I want to see Tank Davis actually fight Vasyl High-Tech Lomachenko. A realistic fight in the same weight divisions. He just fought Devin Haney. I would like to see him fight Tank Davis. I would like to see Vasyl High-Tech Lomachenko go for one of those belts that Devin Haney vacated. I would like to see Vasyl High-Tech Lomachenko fight against Shakur Stevenson too, in fact. Or I would like Shakur Stevenson to fight Tank Davis. I would like those guys right there. Jamie Ortiz also can throw his name in the ring. Frank Martin is also in the mix. Ali Rivera is also in the mix at 135. Now, these are all fighters that I'm naming that are all in the same division. They can actually fight each other. You see? So I want to see a lot of these fights. Like I said, there's a lot of fights. There's a young kid, Madison. He's coming up. I'm very interested in watching Madison. I think that kid's pretty freaking good, man. There's a lot of good fighters that are out there right now that are going to be putting up some pretty big fights. So I can't wait. And I can't wait to see who is it going to be, Luis Narez or MJ for Naoya Inoue's next fight. There's rumors. I heard them all. I heard a lot of them. I do my homework too, that Luis Narez is almost done. But you got to understand who Luis Narez's promoter is. Okay? You got to understand who his promoter is. And he fucking lies all the time. I don't trust that dude. They're all a bunch of liars, technically. So even though he's out there, maybe on social media, wherever you guys heard it from, I heard it from a third source that Luis Narez's deal is almost finalized with the Japanese superstar for May. That's what I heard. Whether or not that's true, whether or not they're trying to negotiate a fight between MJ, and I also think that Sam Goodman was in the conversation ahead of Casamera because of Casamera's health condition and the way he looked in his last fight. That's why Casamera, the fact that he lost his belt on the scale, not being a professional, those leave black eyes in the sport. You see, and when you have those kind of incidents under your belt, look, you can't fuck around with Naoya Inoue's payday. You know, you're coming into the fight. He's trying to write legacy, and you're over here missing weight. That alters the fight. Missing weight alters the fight because now you didn't come in at weight. You didn't make weight. Now, if you lose this fight, they're not going to give me full credit because you didn't come in as a professional. So if I can't count on you to fulfill your end of the bargain to bring the fans and you're fucking around and missing weight, that's a red flag. For me and my boxing team, my promotional team is going to look at it and go, we have much better options of much better fighters that are going to come in and make weight and don't have health issues and blame it on the fact that he has a certain disease is why he didn't make weight. Brother, we don't want to hear your excuses. Why did you take the fight? Why did you call him out if you couldn't perform? Stop running your fucking mouth then. If you're not in the shape or the capability to get this fight. You see? So that's why those other three fighters, Naves, MJ, and Goodman, are leading the way for me at the 122-pound weight division, seeing that he walked into the 122-pound division and he took out the best right away. Usually when people go into a new division, they fight the middle guys first, and then they go after the best, right? Not this Japanese dude. He kicked open the front door and beat the best right out the gate. So it kind of like, damn, bro, you beat the best guys off rip, got all 4 belts. You want to make a title defense, but you technically beat everybody already at the top. So now it's just challengers. Just challengers. And the funny thing is, the challengers that he's getting, the men that he beat were the men that when the smoke all cleared, those guys were the ones at the top. Stephen Kubo Fulton, Marlon Tapales. They were the ones left standing at 122. And you expect the guys that fell, that didn't have the belt, that didn't have enough to bring them to the dance, that's the leftovers, to beat this guy. That's what you guys are saying. That these are the guys that are left over. No. Wait. They have enough skill to beat him now. But they didn't have enough skill to be there when the time was right. They didn't have enough skill to get the belts to beat him. That way there was no controversy. When the smoke all cleared at 122, those were the men that were there, that were left standing. He dispersed of them. And now you're turning around saying, well, the guys that didn't make it, the honorable mentions at 122, these are the guys that are going to beat him. Nah, man, he already beat the best first. Yeah, man. Damn, bro. Yo, you guys are typing. Bro, I left my messages like way up here. I scrolled down. It's like, man, shit. Yo, I got it. What's up, Edward? Bud number 1. All right, your opinion. I love it. Modelo number 1. Yo, what's up, S2K Matt? Who's in your current top 10 pound for pound ranking? I don't have a top 10 pound for pound ranking, Matt. You guys want me to be honest real quick? I know I spent all this time talking about the pound for pound thing, but I do it for you guys. I do it for you guys to break down things so that you guys are more informed and better prepared in your next conversation with someone else. You know, you're getting facts here. So what I tell you, I'm not going to lead you astray, right? Okay. But truth be told, for me, there should be no top 10 pound for pound list in the world. My opinion, there should be a pound for pound list. Yes, 100%. But they should not be a top 10. My opinion, who gives a fuck who the 9th best pound for pound fighter in the world is? He's just a regular fighter. Who cares about the 10th pound for pound fighter in the world? You're just a good fighter. The pound for pound list should only be 3 guys. That's what my opinion the pound for pound list should be. It should only be 3 or 5 guys. That's it. I don't care about the number 7 pound for pound fighter in the world. I don't care about him. I just want you to be either cracking the top 3 or threatening number 1. That's what's important. If you're just the number 8, the number 9, then bro, you're just a regular, you're a good fighter. In fact, you're a great fighter. But you're just a great fighter. They stretched this pound for pound list and made it 10 fighters to get as many people on the list to attract eyes and fans. So when I looked at it like that, I didn't fight it no more. I didn't fight the fact that it was bullshit for having 10 guys on a pound for pound list. It's fucking ridiculous. Okay? Like I said, I don't care about the 9th guy. Right? What I care about is who's number 2, who's number 1, and who's number 3. Who's threatening who? Who's pushing who for the number 1 spot? That's all I care about. And that's basically all the pound for pound list should be. My opinion. My opinion. Because anything after 5, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about who's 5, 7, 8, 9. I don't care. I just care who's leading the way, who's threatening, and the next shiny guy that's coming in trying to stir it up. That's all I care about. That's it. Some boxers should go pay Joe Rogan a visit. He talks too much against boxing. Joe Rogan is one of those guys. He's too smart for himself. That's Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan is a mixed martial artist that believes that he had to utilize everything he has as a fighting technique to become a better fighter. Most mixed martial artists admit that they can't beat you standing up for hand to hand. They don't got those kind of skills. But they believe that that shouldn't like merit what kind of fighter he could be. So they believe they should utilize all aspects, kicks, chokes, wrestling, which I agree to a certain point, right? Okay. So that's what kind of man Joe Rogan is, right? He's the type of man that from so many years of watching mixed martial arts, you start to watch those guys throw punches in a mixed martial UFC match, you forget that it's not the same like boxing. Until the day you tell the UFC guy, yo, no wrestling, no kicking, stand there and punch, and you see the unorthodox method of their punches, that you start to go, that might not work out for him. You see? So from a long time of covering sports, Joe Rogan is so smart and he's adopted so much that he's forgotten about some things and what boxing really truly in times, you know what I'm saying, where that they had their best mixed martial art fighter, Conor McGregor, coming against our legend, old as fuck, going against their young up and coming champion, and our guy bullied him the entire night. So when you saw their best elite against our retired elite, Conor McGregor was the best coming into that fight, just securing 2 belts. We woke Floyd Mayweather out of bed, and Conor McGregor couldn't even make it competitive. When you put, you know what I'm saying? So Joe Rogan, you know what I'm saying? He's real smart, and he knows a lot. But when you get in that kind of situation, I could see where you tend to forget things. And let's just remember what sport he's in. So what sport is he advertising for? He's definitely not advertising for boxing. So he's more or less going to go with the UFC side. So he's just doing his job, trying to get fans by talking a little shit about boxing because he works on that side. You know what I'm saying? I get what he's doing. But Joe's a dog. Joe Rogan's a dog. You know what I'm saying? I give him respect for his reporting. He's never been scared to speak his mind, and I respect him for that. I don't agree to all reporters, but hats off to Joe Rogan for becoming the man that he was. I remember when he used to do Fear Factor, he was a nobody. And that UFC shit, man, catapulted him and gave him a new life. Hats off to him. My day ones. The pound for pound list for most people is a popular contest. If it was about stats and performances, number 1 is Naoya and number 2 is Canelo Alvarez. Okay, interesting point, but unfortunately, you can't use that. You can't use stats to determine the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world. It is unfair. You can't use weight divisions or belts. You can't count not one single belt that a man or woman has ever won to give them credibility of why they should be on the list. That cannot be your argument. You cannot use that they moved up through divisions and have multiple divisions to be on the pound for pound list. That cannot be in the argument, because not every man and woman are doing those type things. And if you don't have anybody else that has 4 belts or moved up 4 weight divisions, then you mean to tell me because that other guy didn't do it, that automatically disqualifies him? Then if you're only counting your list by belts and divisions, well, then you're only going to have 4 or 5 people on the list. That's it. Because now you can only get on your list if you have a shitload amount of belts and you went through divisions. That's the only way you can get on your list, if you do it that way. And the only people who are going to be on it are going to be people like Saul Canelo Alvarez, the Japanese superstar, Terence Crawford. It sounds like a great roster already, right? But there are better fighters than Saul Canelo Alvarez out there, skill-wise. Skill-wise. Canelo Alvarez is a great accomplished fighter. He's a good money getter. He sells out gates. He has belts. He's accomplished a lot. But every time you see Saul Canelo Alvarez, he's the same fighter. He's never changed up since he came out of that fight with Floyd Mayweather at 23 years old. He is the exact same fighter. That's not taking away anything from him. He's the exact same fighter that mastered his style. You know exactly what he's going to do, but you can't beat him, can you? That means he's a master at his style. That's his style. He understands himself. It's a good thing as a fighter. I'm not saying this as a bad thing. But Canelo Alvarez is the same fighter. The Japanese superstar has never fought the next opponent the same way. He fights everybody different. He has multiple different styles. He can switch up to any style. He can look like you in the ring. He has enough skill to pull your own style off in front of you. That'll freak you out. You know, you be like the master at your own style and he's doing it better than you, and that's not even his style. Shit, that would fuck me up. That would deflate. I'd be like, man, this is this motherfucker making fun of me right now. He's doing everything I'm doing better. This is not the way he fights, damn it. Damn, that might freak me out, right? Saul Canelo Alvarez fights every fight the same. He's just really good at it. They're not beating him like that. Demetrius Bivol caught up to his ass. Yeah, but Demetrius Bivol was a little way too big for Saul Canelo Alvarez. I think Saul Canelo Alvarez bit off more than he can chew. And Demetrius Bivol got a sneaky win. I mean, he is a crafty fighter. He's a good fighter. But let's not remember that Saul Canelo Alvarez was pushing the limitations to his body. He was a lot smaller than Demetrius Bivol. And he went up there trying to fight Demetrius Bivol. And, you know, fair play, daring to be great. There's nothing to be ashamed about that. Canelo Alvarez took a shot at it and he lost. So what? But that wasn't at 168. That's not where he has all 4 belts, you know? And I've talked about this too, about fighters like that, champions like that. Mark my words, guys. You guys are here with me on this streaming channel and everything. Mark this day down because it's going to come. It's just a matter of time. That there's going to be a point in time where the Japanese superstar is going to have achieved and accomplished everything, just like Saul Canelo Alvarez. And we're going to be wanting him to fight the next shiny thing, or to fight his own countrymen in Japan, to start taking out some of the best Japanese fighters, just like they do here in U.S. when they put the U.S. fighters against each other. They took Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. and made them fight each other, didn't they? They're going to do that to him too, okay? There's going to be a point in his career where that everybody's going to say, oh, the Japanese superstar now is not taking this fight, just like Saul Canelo Alvarez has not taken the fight against David Benavidez. But I said this. David Benavidez and Saul Canelo Alvarez came into boxing in way different times, different time frames. Saul Canelo Alvarez has already passed David Benavidez by light years, right? But David Benavidez came into boxing and he's the next shiny new thing, right? Saul Canelo Alvarez has already been in those wars. He's already given enough blood to the sport of boxing where do you get in your career and what kind of champion what's the benefits of being a 4-division world champion, having 60 professional fights under your record, if you can't cherry pick 1 or 2 or 3 fights at the tail end of your career and walk out? What's the benefit of being that kind of champion if every time you're going to have to fight the best number 1 guy pound for pound, right? All the time to prove everybody wrong. What's the benefit of being that kind of champion? So that's why I respect Saul Canelo Alvarez. Hello, I'm live streaming. Yes, but I am live streaming right now and you are breaking out. I will call you right back. So that's what I mean about Saul Canelo Alvarez. He gets a lot of criticism, and David Benavidez is putting a lot of pressure on him, right? But Saul Canelo Alvarez, in a sense, is telling David Benavidez, yo, young gun, yo, young puppy, listen, chill. You're mad young. I'm old. I got a lot of years of wear and tear in boxing. You're the next thing from Mexico. I don't want to fight you, bro, because I don't want to end up beating you, beating me. We don't have to do that. I'll just slide out the back door, vacate the belts, and guess who's going to get them? You. And you can be Mexico's next Mexican fighter. But I don't have time to turn around, David Benavidez, and give you what you want. Your payday. Right? I've already made plans for my future. Canelo Alvarez is thinking. I've already been in the wars with Floyd Mayweather, all the greats. He has 60 fucking fights, bro. And he's been in all those kind of wars. He doesn't just, he's in a different position in his life, and he's getting a lot of pressure and a lot of criticism from a lot of fans because he's not fighting David Benavidez. But real, like me, I understand it. I see it in a different light. I don't think Saul Canelo Alvarez is scared of him. I just think that, bro, how much blood do you got to give to this fucking sport before they leave you alone? Your fans support you, allow you to cherry pick a couple fights, support you at the tail end of your career for all the great mega fights you gave us throughout your fucking career. And now it's time for us to support you. And now these fans are like, nah, fuck support. We want you to go in there and fight the youngest guy, the killer Mexican monster. Go in there and get your head beaten in. For what? For what? Why should Saul Canelo Alvarez do that to himself? Not unless he leaves it for the last hurrah. He fights what he's going to fight, and on his way out, he turns around and says, I'll give you that fight. That's up to him. That's up to him. So, yeah, shit, man. Listen, it would be, I just know you're going like, what? What do you say? What's up, Pitbull Boxing? You're going like that. Now you're a kid. Ain't black. I'm only going at the Naoya kid because he ain't black. You're only like that Naoya kid because he's ain't black. What? Everyone black fighters duck each other, and hold up a second. All right. Time to set the record straight. Those comments you made right there, they almost made sense, right? But here's the thing. Every black fighter that you're saying that's ducking another fighter, you do realize that boxing is like the Olympics, right? You do realize that we're competing against other countries, right? So if you have United States team, you have the Japanese boxing team, you have the Mexican boxing team, you have, from all over the world, Chinese boxing team, you're representing your country. Boxing's a global sport. You do not take your own American fighters and put them to fight against each other. That's not smart business. It wouldn't be profitable to take Devin Haney right away and put him against Tank Davis. They represent the same American team. You do know that, right? Right? What you're supposed to do is what Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford did. They beat everybody else from every other country until they were the only two men left standing. So before you think about just repeating something you hear by saying, oh, black guys duck other black guys, you sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Because that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to fight your countrymen right away. It's going to look like you're ducking him to the untrained eye. That would be a casual fan. You see, someone that just walks in and says something crazy, they don't know what they're talking about. Okay? Because you're not supposed to fight your countrymen until you cleared out everyone else. The exact same way Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford did it. They beat all the Russians. They beat everybody else, everybody, until it was only them two. So for you to sit there and say black American guys are all ducking these other black guys, bro, they're not ducking anybody. This is strategy. You do realize that, right? You're not supposed to put your American team to take out the American team. What are you talking about? We are competing globally. It's basically like one of these belts is like a gold medal. Basically, and that's the silver. That's the silver. If you want to look at it like that, to help you understand a little bit more. When you see, like, Tank Davis was never supposed to fight Devin Haney early. I always knew that. I used to like hear the back and forth on social media, and I used to laugh, and I used to say, these people do realize that those are both American fighters. We're not supposed to take each other out this early in the game. We're supposed to beat everybody else and then fight each other in the mega fight. That's how it goes out here. You see? The only time you can truly say one guy was ducking another guy is when real contracts got sent over. Not just bullshit talk. If I legitimately, as an American fighter, send another American fighter a contract, you denied my contract. We try to renegotiate again. I agreed to some of your terms, and you still denied the fight and went and fought someone else for less money, then you ducked me. That's a duck. You see? But because I'm not fighting you because you're in my same weight division, we got the same flag, baby. It's not profitable for us to take all our American dudes. That's not what you're supposed to do. So watch when you say people are ducking you. You know, it sounds like you're just repeating what someone else said. And you want to sound cool. Rather than know what you're talking about. That's all I'm saying. Yo. Now you're going way out there, bro. You fought slavery for 200 years. We used to let us fight. Yo. I hate politics. I hate bullshit, bro. Yo, making mad excuses. That's not what we're talking about. You're taking other things and bringing it into this now and trying to turn it into something else, right? I'm just responding to what you said. There is tragedy in boxing. Sometimes you're not going to see this guy fight this guy. It's not because of ducking. It's because their managers are saying, hold up. We need to empty out the division. We need to beat the opposing competing nations that are coming in, bringing us competition. Because you do realize when every time the Japanese superstar wins those belts don't stay in America. Those belts go to Japan, bro. Right? If a Mexican fighter beats an American fighter, that belt's no longer in US. That belt goes to Mexico, to Russia, to France, to Italy, to China. We need to keep those belts here. And sometimes when you see American fighters fight each other in the lower ranking, it's because they're trying to move up. And sorry, I got to take you out to get myself there because the Americans got to put out their best foot forward. So in the bottom brackets, they take each other out constantly. Always fighting again, because it's cool there. But once you start moving up to championship caliber, have you ever noticed? If you haven't noticed this, name me all the fighters Tank Davis fought. All the races of fighters Tank Davis fought. Go. How many American fighters did Tank Davis fight? Ryan Garcia was born in America, technically. So he's not like a Latin. He's technically like an American fighter, I would say, Ryan Garcia, because he was technically born here, right? But Tank Davis and Floyd Mayweather did it that way. They didn't put him up against Shakur Stevenson. They didn't put him against Devin Haney. You know who they put him against? Eastside Football Crew, Mexican. Mario Barrio, Mexican. All Mexicans. Mexicans. I think Tank Davis fought mad Mexican dudes, bro. Who's the only brother he fought? He fought the Dominican dude, Edwin. He fought Ryan Garcia last. He fought black dude. Did Tank Davis ever fight? I don't think Floyd Mayweather ever put him against any of the Americans. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. We're not fighting against each other. We're supposed to be fighting against them, bro. That's how you're supposed to do it. We need to get up there and then fight each other in the championship fight like Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford did it. That's how you're supposed to do it. Not supposed to take each other out. You guys are brothers, bro. It's crazy. Tank fought Rolly. Rolly's not black, bro. His father speaking Latin right in the fucking ring. He's like, oh yeah, right? Right? Not to say I'm making fun of Latin people because yo soy boricua y yo hablo en español, ¿entiende? So I am Puerto Rican, so I can do that. But Rolly's dad was speaking Latin. So he's not like a 100% brother. You know what I'm saying? So besides Rolly, which is the closest you're probably going to get, right? I'm trying to think. Have you guys ever seen Tank Davis fight an American fighter? I know he has. Yeah, Rolly and Ryan. They're the closest. Those are the closest. But you're not supposed to put them in against the Shakur Stevenson, the Devin Haney's. They were never gonna fight way back then, and I knew that. I knew that. You don't do that to your guys. You don't do that to your team. They're the American team, bro. You fucking crazy? We gotta compete against everybody else. Why would we take each other out? That's just dumb, bro. Some dumb shit right there. Only in the lower rankings when you guys are fighting to be on the top 10. Once you're in the top 10, baby, unless you're trying to eliminate each other for the belt, don't take each other out. That's the rule anyway. That was the rule until you get the mega fights and shit. You know, you'll get the Americans fighting, and then it'll be big fights. It'll be like Sugar Ray Leonard versus Hagler. You know what I mean? It'll be like fucking, you know, your legendary fights. You know, and that's when you're supposed to get them. That's why the Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford fight was 5 years too late. Not only because of that, but because of Errol Spence Jr.'s car accidents, which had a fucking, a lot to do with it. But they both was waiting to clean out the division to finally meet each other at the top. Terrence Crawford vacated his belts at 140 to pursue Errol Spence Jr. because he knew, and they knew, they've already cleaned out their divisions. Before Terrence Crawford even moved up to 147, there were already talks about them one day possibly meeting up because there was nobody left. They really cleaned out 2 divisions, bro. The 2 of those men. That's why that fight was talked about and revered. Let's remember what took place and how that fight got to where it was at and why it was so big. Let's not forget all the hard work and all the heads they cut off to get there. Yeah. So that's what made it so big. Yeah, I can block that racist guy so he can only talk to himself. Just talking shit. You know what I mean? Yo, Mark, what's up, baby? Artist. Okay. Naoya for accepted take so far 12 divisions. Oh, listen, I don't even want to answer no more of your question. You are a great subscriber and you are the man. But brother, there is nothing to talk about when it's Tank Davis' accomplishments to the Japanese superstar accomplishments because I got nothing for Tank Davis. You know, he has one division with one belt. He's not even in the conversation. He's not even in the car. He might make more money. At the end of the day, Tank Davis is a global superstar, making shitload of money, selling out all over, right? But at the end of his career, when it's all said and done, he couldn't hold the Japanese superstar's jockstrap in training when it comes to accomplishments. And that's the truth. You're not going to put up one weight division, one belt against four. I don't even want to go into his record. It's just not even a challenge anymore. It's not even fair, to put them two together. Money wise, Tank Davis got the Japanese superstar. Of course he does. Tank Davis is probably the second highest paid boxer behind Saul Canelo Alvarez. Saul Canelo Alvarez is the first cash cow in boxing. Tank Davis is a close second, which he's like catching up to Saul Canelo Alvarez, and then as third in America for as a draw to in America, it has to be Terence Crawford. Now it has to be. Terence Crawford, he's never made the kind of money Tank Davis makes. Terence Crawford, no fault of his own. I believe his promotional company and a lot of people played, a part in that, and they slowed Terence Crawford down from becoming a better champion, in the long run for me anyway. But I think that he still makes good coin at the door. I don't think he's hurting for money. You know what I'm saying? Nah, they was messing with them. Fury is the second biggest cash cow. Yeah, but he's not an American. Well, okay, we weren't counting. That's right. We were just calling everybody. That's right. Tyson Fury. I forgot all about his ass. You're right. You're right. Tyson Fury jumps in there somewhere. Tyson Fury makes big money, bro. Big money, man. Them Saudis are paying that boy heftily. Fucking Tyson Fury just threw a monkey wrench into my equation. Fuck. So it goes probably Saul Canelo Alvarez, Tyson Fury, Tank Davis. I'm not sure. I think Tyson Fury made more money than Tank Davis. I'm pretty sure. I believe the fight that he made against Francis Ngannou, he got $30 million up front. I don't think Tank Davis has ever made $30 million in any of his fights. I believe the most money Tank Davis have ever made in one fight, I think it was like upwards of 8 million. It was like 8 million, some shit like that he made. I think that's like the most money Tank Davis made in a fight so far. He sold out the Barclays Center, and he has fought in Las Vegas, but he's not making Saul Canelo Alvarez fights. Saul Canelo Alvarez fights all start at $35 million and up. That's where Saul Canelo Alvarez contracts start. They negotiate roughly around 30 million and go upwards with Saul Canelo Alvarez. They offered Saul Canelo Alvarez $55 million guaranteed to fight David Benavidez, and he denied it. That would have been the most money that he ever made in a single fight, being the fact that it's guaranteed. Now, I don't want to go all through all the contract lines and shit, but I will, if you want to know it. When a contract is issued and you hear a lot of the prices in boxing, don't always believe that. I'm here to tell you that George Kamboza did not make $10 million against Devin Haney. It was reported that he was going to earn up to $10 million. But when it was all said and done, he didn't make, I don't even think he reached anywhere near it. He might have got a little close, a little over 6, 7, but he was like $3, $4 million short of that 10. Okay. When they make a contract with you in boxing, the money is not guaranteed. Where how it works is the promotional companies is putting up all the money for you. They pay for your plane ticket there, the hotel rooms, your promotional, all the food you're eating, everywhere you're doing. It's all on the promotional company, the car rentals, all that stuff. Your banners, your flyers, your promotional company is renting out the event. They're like saying, we want to rent out, for instance, Las Vegas. You got to pay Vegas up front. Who gives them the money to rent out the day and time for your boxing match? Your promotional company. Your promotional company pays the bill so that you can fight. And what they're gambling on is that enough people come to see the event and buy it on TV. And then they make their money back at the back end. And whatever they feel like they made, unless it doesn't say the word guarantee, they could lie to you. They could say, oh, we only made 13 million. They made 26 million. You know, unless you got a guy in there and a good promotional and good lawyer that's looking at the paperwork, they don't have to show you everything they make. So it's a cut. It's a fucked up business. That's why we're always talking about it. But when you got a guy or a promotional team that's telling you, we'll give you $55 million guaranteed. That means Saul Canelo gets that money before he even steps into the ring. That check got to cash before he even gets into the ring. That's guaranteed. If they give you a $50 million contract for the fight, it's not always guaranteed that you're going to make it out of there with $50 million. What happens is the promotional company gives you a percentage, and then pay-per-view also gives you a percentage, and then they have what they call a drip. It's called a drip, where that when the pay-per-view event airs that night, at the end of that night, you should get a check, right? Okay. Now, there's people that came home late, didn't get to watch the fight, and they buy it tomorrow, or they rent it, or buy the fight, or download it from another website. All that money and the, like, let's say the Zone or Disney Plus takes the fight. They buy it off the network, and then they sell your fight. You're getting money off the back. That's what they call a drip. Your first check is probably going to be your biggest check. A month later, you'll get another check from the pay-per-view people. And to see, and the checks get smaller and smaller as they go down until you're no longer receiving money. And then that's how you get the estimated money that you were offered in the fight. They say they're going to give you $30 million. You don't always end up with that number. It's usually typically lower. One of the only fighters in history to gamble on himself at the time was Roy Jones Jr. And one of Roy Jones Jr.'s, they offered him a deal. They told Roy Jones Jr., either you take $10 million guaranteed, or you gamble on the fact that you are going to sell out on pay-per-view and you're able to make more than $10 million. But it's not a guarantee that you will make that $10 million. I think it was for that heavyweight fight, for his first crack at a heavyweight title when he fought that Ruiz dude or whatever. So Roy Jones took the $10 million. He said, nah, fuck that. You know what? I'm not going to take a gamble. And he took the $10 million. Lo and behold, he fucked up. That was the only time in history that I saw a guy take the $10 million and I was in agreement with him. I was like, yeah, take the fucking money, take the 10 mil. You ain't going to make that on the back end. Bro, he left like $25 million on the table. Yeah, that fight did stupid numbers, bro. And it did a lot better than a lot of people thought. So individually, he left a lot of money on the table. He fucked up by taking that 10 million. But that was the only time in rare cases that shit happens, bro. Sometimes you got to take the money up front, bro. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like Ryan Garcia has a contract with Golden Boy Promotion. They paid him all that money for not his last fight, but the fight before that. And he couldn't sell out the fucking arena. They were selling the tickets for $25 outside just to get the people to come in. And they already paid Ryan Garcia. He took the money up front. And he didn't gamble on the back end. And good thing he didn't do that, because he would have lost money. You see? So sometimes it goes either way. You know what I mean? $15 million drip? Who the fuck has that? That drip, $15 million drip. That's a big drip for $15 million. But the pay-per-view company gives you one of the biggest checks, but not the biggest check. Your check that you got for the fight should have been bigger than your pay-per-view check at first. But you're gonna make some money off pay-per-view. If Floyd Mayweather, let's use this as a rough draft. I know that the time was different, the economy was different back then. You know, you couldn't steal the fight. You had to pay it on pay-per-view. So Floyd was in a real golden era of pay-per-view, Floyd Mayweather. You know, there wasn't really a lot of hot boxes. I mean, you could have a hot box back in the day. They send a bullet, shut it off. You know all the tricks. We used to do it all the time, right? Okay. But Floyd was in a golden era, right? Floyd has 4 of the highest gates to this day in boxing. He has some of the best records, live gates ever in Las Vegas, right? He has historical live gates. And Floyd Mayweather made roughly in Floyd Mayweather's biggest payday, if he generated over $1 billion in one night for Las Vegas, and he only took home $100 million out of $1 billion fucking dollars. If you're not putting up $1 billion night, you don't got $1 billion, bro. Let's say you put up $100 million night. How much money you think you're gonna get out of $100 million? Those promoters and those pay-per-view people are not gonna give you a big slice of the pie. In fact, the fighter is the one that's in the ring taking all the risk, putting his life in jeopardy, boxing for 15 years to get himself in position to be there. He did all the hard work and he gets paid the less. All these people make money off of their sweat and blood. Do you think it's fair? They do all the work, take all the punishment, and they get paid the less. Sometimes, until you're in a position where that you're like Saul Canelo Alvarez, you know, the Japanese superstar, Tank Davis. Tank Davis is still getting robbed by Floyd. I don't think he made all the money he should have made. Floyd was juking his ass too, you know. But not a lot of fighters. There's only a 3, 4 fighters right now currently making over $3 or $4 million. Not every fighter in the world is making that kind of money. There's not a lot of fighters that Demetrius Bivol is not making that kind of money. And I think he's a great fighter. You know, Jamel Charlo and the Charlo twins just had their biggest paydays their last few fights. You know, not a lot of these guys are making that kind of. They can front like they're making that kind of money. They're a lure. But you know where boxing does for you? You might not make all the money you want in the ring, but when you get sponsorships and all that side money that comes with the fame of being a boxer, you make enough money around you that it makes up for it. The lifestyle makes up for everything around you, you know? So, and all the doors that are being opened for you because of who you are, that sometimes money can't buy that shit. You know, that promoter that might be a snake that sucked in all the money, he ain't getting no respect, no doors opening for him. Nobody know who the hell he is. He has to tell people he has money. But when they see you walking, they go, "Hello, champ." They open the door for you. "Hello, champ." You got respect. You earned that. You can't buy that. You can't buy that. So listen, guys, I've been talking for a long time, and I got this guy's freaking hating on me. I don't. This guy, he's just saying shit for me to answer. I know I'm not baiting into him. Henny and Take is the face of boxing. I mean, to your opinion, because Saul Canelo Alvarez is the face sport of boxing right now, the face of boxing right now. Yeah, he is. And then Tank David, we already talked about. I only watched three divisions in boxing. And what are those? The 135, the 140, and the 147. All glamour divisions. Every division you name is a glamour division. He ain't no true boxing fan. He's just a casual fan. Don't know nothing about boxing. You only watch three divisions. And you watch the three most glamorous divisions, but you don't watch the highly skilled division, and you don't watch the most powerful division. Okay. Who is more dominant in their fight? This is how pound for pound fights need to be analyzed. Listen, um, Fulton made the most even when he fought Naoya. Yeah, that's the most money he ever made when he went to Japan to fight the Japanese fighter, because now you had a proper dance partner. Anybody before Stephen Kubo Fulton came into the Naoya Inoue fight, what is the biggest name on his resume? Brandon Figueroa. That was the biggest name he had. And Brandon, the Heartbreak Kid, he doesn't have that big of a name. He's not an accomplished world champion. It's not like in all of my time streaming, the only time I ever mentioned Brandon Figueroa's name is because Stephen Kubo Fulton beat him. That's it. So besides that, what is that telling you? What did Stephen Kubo Fulton actually do? And what he did was show his skills. His skills were the best in that division for that time. And he proved it by capturing not one but two world titles. Do you see? So what up, Mark? What up, Ed? Machacella, I can't pronounce this name. I've been trying to say it for a long time. People, you say, yeah, yeah, that dude is crazy. Don't even answer that guy. Be more stand up. Uh, this guy is just saying anything now. Guys, don't even pay attention to this guy. Yo, he's saying retarded stuff. He's capping. That is straight cap. You know he's capping. He's messing with all of us. He's trying to get us to. I should kick his ass out, but sometimes I'll allow it, and as long as he has some respect. He can say some crazy shit to get you guys rowdy, but as long as he's not disrespecting any of you guys or saying anything crazy, I'll allow him to say his foolishness to entertain you guys while I talk. You know what I mean? Yeah, I see you guys are having a conversation there with him. Yeah, Mark, he is. All right, what up, baby? Facts. Listen, you know what, man? Look, right now, like I said this before, I'm going to end the night with this. We truly stand in a golden time of boxing right now. I have never seen this many boxers and this um, boxing agreeing to give us these big fights. I have never seen a golden era where promotional companies, pay-per-views, sanctioning bodies are all trying to put and really give us the fights that we want. 2023 is soon to come to an end, and it was truly a remarkable year. When we take a look back at this year, we are really going to remember all the fights and all the big moments that 2023 gave us. The boxing world is really coming around, and they are showing that they are willing and it's more profitable to put these champions against one another so that we can see these bigger fights. And if they have any interest of one day allowing the IBO to become a major world champion, well, you're going to need more champions to fill that void. Boxing has really been good to us. So let's be good back to boxing. Let's support boxing and let's not allow a lot of our hate to bash on one another, to turn on one another rather than being in a competitive nature. We can support each other and still trash talk, but keep it respectable. You know, a few swears will never hurt anybody, but getting real disrespectful and racism, now there I draw the line. We can boost each other, talk crap. My fighter will see your fighter. Cool. That's great. That's competitiveness. And that's what I like about the sport of boxing. Two men settling their difference to see who the best in the world is. And both these men, Terence Crawford and the Japanese superstar, got my vote for the number one fighter in the world. They can both share that title. He's the number one fighter in Japan. Terence Crawford's the number one fighter in America. And I'm cool with that. How you like those apples? To all my fighting fans out there, thank you for tuning in with me. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for donating to the channel. Thank you for all your comments and staying here with me and discussing all these debates and topics. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and like always, I'm on to the next one. Peace. Mark, what up, baby? I believe Naoya anyway and Junto Nakatomi will be future big stars coming from Japan until they put them to fight each other. Thank you. See you next live. Yeah, that's exactly what they do to our fighters in America when we put them against because there's nobody left. Soon there's not going to be anybody left in Japan for him to fight, and they're going to have to fight each other. Mark my words. I love you guys. Have a good night and a blessed New Year's. We'll talk. One.